Okay, so today we're going to talk about Take a look at number 7 on your sheet here. Yeah.
What's your YouTube channel again? Like and subscribe.
Oh, I actually don't know what the name of it is. Just search my name, Erica Sabia, and it pops right up. So anyway, here are our two equations. We want to find the solution to the system. You could do this by hand, but what a nightmare. You really feel like graphing this? You want to start at 19 and then go down 31 over 3? That would be such a pain in the neck to graph by hand, right? Same thing with this one. Well, this one's not quite as bad, but it'd be pretty annoying. I also could solve this using one of our other methods, substitution or elimination, but why not use the graphing calculator if I have access to it? Because that's actually going to be pretty fast once I get the hang of it. So where do we go to enter in equations? Y equals. So let's clear out the old stuff. We don't need that. So now I'm just going to enter in this first equation. Negative, so make sure I use the negative button. Negative 31 divided by 3, x plus 19. Now I have two equations, so I'm going to go down to the second line, and I'm going to enter in the second one. Negative 1/3 x minus 11. So please make sure that you're paying attention to the negative and the minus. So when you type in that second equation, you can look. That negative, or that minus, that dash, if it's a negative, is much smaller than the minus sign. So make sure that that's the little one and that's the big one. Negative, minus. Because it will give you an error if you try and use the minus sign instead of the negative in the wrong spot.
Minus 11, right?
Yep. So everybody has their two equations entered. Gianna, we're on number 7. The packet from yesterday, yep. So we're just entering those two equations so far. So we can go ahead and try and hit graph. We have no idea what we're going to see, but we'll try it.
Mine wasn't in that quick.
Yours what?
I did the first line and then error.
Let me see. That's because you have a minus sign where you should have a negative. Where you had negative 1/3, you did minus 1/3. You gotta do the negative sign. There you go. Okay, so I can see a little bit. I can't see everything though. So what I'm gonna want to do is I'm gonna want to zoom out until I can see both lines and where they cross. So how do you think I zoom out? Take a wild guess. What button do you think I hit? Zoom, yeah, that middle button on the top.
And then maybe zoom out. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, let's choose choice 3. Now please listen. Choose choice 3, and then you get here and you're like, hey, it didn't zoom out. You have to hit enter.
Now with a thinky.
And let it finish, okay? So now, and here's a helpful hint. If you needed to zoom out again, you could just hit enter again, and it would keep zooming out until you didn't want to zoom out anymore. Same thing with zoom in. If you wanted to zoom in, you could do it the same way. So zoom in, and then you just keep hitting enter until you are zoomed in enough. But here, I can see both lines. This one's a little steep now, but that's okay. I can see a line, I can see a line. They're going to cross right about there. Okay? So, where's the solution to a system? Where they meet, right? So the intersection point is the solution, right? Right? Everybody agree? Yes? Okay. So, guess what? Have you seen the word intersect somewhere on this calculator before? Did you happen to notice it somewhere?
Yeah.
If you hit second calc, and you take a look at these options, yeah, choice 5 is intersect. So that's the one we're going to pick now, choice 5. Now it's going to ask you a bunch of questions. First curve. First of all, these aren't curves, they're lines. Doesn't matter. The calculator's treating them the same way. You're just going to hit enter. Second curve, you're just going to hit enter. Guess, you're just going to hit enter. And there it is. 3, negative 12.
This is number 7?
Mm-hmm. The reason why it's asking you first curve, second curve, because you could enter in loads of lines at the same time. I could enter in 10 lines at once if I wanted to. So it's just asking, well, what 2 lines do you want me to find the intersection of? We only have 2 lines in there, so it's not going to, it doesn't matter. So I just hit enter, enter, and then guess I just hit enter again. So there is my intersection point for number 7. The solution is 3, negative 12. So look at number 8. No matter how bad these look, I would never want to do this by hand if I didn't have to. That looks like a nightmare. But on the calculator, it's actually super fast. So go ahead and type in those ones on number 8. See if you can remember how to get there. I like to clear everything away first.
Can we start over? Number 8?
What do you mean start over? When So once you type these 2 in, you can hit graph, but remember it's set on the window from the last problem. So maybe this will be fine. Maybe it won't be fine. I don't know. Oh yeah, that looks fine. I can see where the 2 cross, so I don't have to zoom in or out or adjust anything. I'm good to go. Is everybody able to get these 2 lines up on their screen? And if you think you know how to find the intersection, go for it. Go ahead and try it. See if you can get there. If you need a reminder, we're going to do second calc. We're going to choose 5 for intersect because that's what I'm trying to find, where those 2 intersect each other. And then it just is going to ask you first curve, yep. Second curve, yep. Guess. You can just hit enter for all 3. And there we go. Negative 17, negative 5. Pretty easy. So what I might do on your quiz tomorrow, if I decide to give you one, which I probably will, that might be what it's like. So I might give you some really nasty looking equations that you wouldn't want to do by hand. You could, but it's so much faster if you just have the graphing calculator. So let's jump to one like number, let's try 15. If we look at 15,
Do we have to put them in y-intercept form? Oh, because we have to do y equals
right, it doesn't have to be y equals mx plus b, it just the y has to be by itself. So the other side could look terrible, but you do need y all by itself. So if we're on 15, right, yes, we have to get the y by itself. So let's take this first equation. What would you do first?
add 22x.
Add 22x to the other side. So I'm going to have 15y. I like the y on the left. And I'll add 22x to both sides. So now I'll have 22x plus 195. And then I would need to divide by 15. Don't bother simplifying any of this. You're just going to leave it. Your calculator can handle fractions all day long. So there's my first equation. Okay? That's the extent of what you have to do by hand. You just have to get y by itself. Same thing for the bottom one. So maybe I'll add 5y to the other side first. So I have negative 2x minus 75. Right, if I added that 5y over. And then how would I get y by itself now? Divide by 5. That's it. So let the calculator handle the fractions. I'm not even going to simplify 75 over 5. Let the calculator do it. So there's my two equations. So no matter how bad they look, doesn't matter, because I don't have to deal with them, the calculator does. So go ahead and type those two in. You can go ahead and hit graph. I mean, go ahead and find the intersection point if you remember how. I'm just going to pretend, let's say you had, this is the first problem you're doing for the day, and you were just on the, let's say you had graph and this is what you saw. I don't have both lines. So for me, maybe I should zoom out until I can see that second line. So just to recap how to do that. Zoom is the middle button. Zoom out, so I want choice 3. And then you have to hit enter and let it do its work. Okay, all right, now I can see both lines. And actually, I want to show you something else. I wish I, let me do this. So let me, okay. Zoom out. All right, can everybody look at my screen real quick? So I'm about to zoom out. So I just hit zoom, choice 3, and now I have to hit enter to zoom out. But I want you to watch right up here. You see that little scrolling bar thing? That means that the calculator is working. If that's going, don't hit any buttons. If you do hit a button while that thing is scrolling, because this happens all the time, kids hit enter, and they're like, well, it's frozen, it's not doing anything. Look what happened to that bar. See how it's like kind of flashing almost? That basically means that you paused the graph. You didn't let it load all the way. So if I hit enter again, that unpauses it. Now it's like, okay, now I'm working. And then when it disappears, it's done. Now I can hit other buttons. So same thing here. So I want to zoom out. See, it's working. If I hit enter, see how I paused it? And now nothing's happening. So kids all the time are like, oh, my calculator's broken. No, it's not. You just paused it. So hit enter again, and that unpauses it, and it'll let it finish doing what it's got to do. Okay? So hopefully you were able to get on your screen where you see them both intersecting. And then when I want to find where that coordinate is, second calc, choose choice 5 for intersect, and then you really just hit enter 3 times. -15, -9? Awesome. And by the way, these just so happen to be coming out to be nice numbers. Do 2 lines have to intersect at nice numbers? No, it could be some crazy decimal. So especially, even more of a reason why you wouldn't want to do it by hand. Because it could intersect at like 0.271, comma, -3.492. You want to do that by hand? I don't think so. So the calculator will give us the exact intersection point. It's so convenient. Okay? So if I give you a question like this on your quiz tomorrow, you could do it? Yeah? Everybody could?